So my husband told me that he doesn't love his stepson and that most of the time he doesn't even like him. And what do you know? Now we're getting divorced.
This woman needs a reality check. If you're a step parent, like I am, I have 2 step kids, 2 of my own kids, you're probably going to relate to this. And I'd love to hear your thoughts and comments on this.
Let's talk about parenting for one moment. My soon-to-be ex-husband and I have been together for over 10 years and my son is 11 years old.
She was a single mum. He came into her life. They got married. They've been together for 10 years.
So it's not that just a couple of years that my soon-to-be ex-husband has been around. He has seen first steps, first words, first day of kindergarten, first day of every single grade. He's seen big milestones. He's watched sporting games. He has watched this kid grow up. And my son is a really good kid.
Probably not the first woman on the planet to sing praises about how great her son is. Kind of goes with the territory, but we're going to come to that. Stay tuned. This gets very interesting.
And I know that a lot of mothers say that, but I really mean it. My son has manners, please and thank you. He's very sweet. He never argues with me. He is so kind, so intelligent, and so emotionally mature. I will address people in the comments very briefly. I have some people that are saying, why would you marry someone when you knew they didn't love their kid? Oh my God, we didn't start there. Oh my gosh, we did not start there. I did not marry my husband knowing that he didn't love my son.
Okay, she's very animated, but you get it. The dude comes along, she's got a 1-year-old kid. He probably did love the son. He took him on knowing that he loved the woman, and knowing that she was a mum, single mum, he proposed to her, married her, took on the responsibility of being the dude's stepdad. That's what step-parents do, right? He possibly had a great relationship with the son when he was 1, possibly even up through later on in life. As she's saying, it didn't start out that way. So what went wrong? And we're going to get to that.
This is a very recent issue. This is a conversation that we had on December 1st, our 10-year anniversary, when he told me that he really doesn't like my son and that he resents him for the fact that I put him first and that my son is priority to me above anything else. And you know what? That's okay, because that's never going to change.
Okay, so I understand what's going on here. He used to love the son, according to her, and that's more than likely probable. But he started to resent the son because the son is always prioritized over the husband. She's saying to herself, she's like, oh yeah, he used to love him. But then I started prioritizing the son over my husband. The husband resents that and is starting to resent the son because of it. It's not the son's fault. It's her fault. But we'll get to that.
So on December 1st, when we had that conversation, that's when I knew I was done. Okay, that's when I knew I was finished. I'm like, I'm so gone. Like, you don't love this child that you have raised, kind of, for 10 years.
Well, there's no kind of. I wouldn't imagine if he's been around for 10 years, then he's raised him.
Kid that you've seen grow up, this kid that is a direct reflection of me, because I have poured everything in my life into raising him properly. You're gonna tell me that you don't love him and that you want me to put you, a 33-year-old man, first over raising an 11-year-old boy.
Okay, yeah, that's exactly what he wants. And this gets interesting in a moment because she's about to contradict herself. But she's like, hang on a minute, you're a 33-year-old man. You want me to prioritize you over my 11-year-old son? Yeah, that's exactly what he wants. He wants to be number 1 in his house. He wants to be the man of the house. He wants to be respected. He wants to be your main priority. And when that happens, he'll take care of you. He'll provide for you. He'll support you. He will be a loving husband. He'll be a loving father, a loving stepfather. Everything will just work in harmony as it should. But if you're prioritizing your son, your 11-year-old son over him, and your husband's sitting back and seeing this unfolding, that's going to cause conflict. Yeah, it's going to cause resentment. It's possibly not a personal attack toward your son, but there's friction, there's conflict. I've seen this happen. You've probably seen this happen. I've been with my wife for 30 years. She already had 2 kids when I met her. I've stuck around for 30 years because she doesn't prioritize her kids over me. I get to be the husband. I get to be the stepdad. I'm not undermined in any way. Never once has it come up in the last 30 years that, oh, you're not the children's father, you can't say that to them. Never once has it come up to the kids, oh, you don't have to listen to him, he's just not your dad. Never once have the kids said to me, you're not my father, I don't need to listen to you. Because that's not how things should operate in a step-family relationship. They don't operate like that in my family, which is why I've stuck around for the last 30 years. But I've seen situations where that happens. I've seen friends of mine that's happened to. They don't stick around. The relationship doesn't last. A good friend of mine married this woman, tried to raise her 2 children, wanted to raise her 2 children, wanted to be a great stepdad, wanted to be a great husband. There was a time where he came home and he asked one of the kids if they could turn the television down because it was too loud. Simple requests like that should be, yeah, no worries. They get up, they turn the TV down. Or, like a lot of kids, they might give you a bit of back chat. Oh, why do I have to turn the TV down, blah, 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 whatever. But you would expect the mum would be like, hey, Dad just told you to turn the TV down. You should turn the TV down. What happened instead is, don't listen to him. He's not your dad. If you want to leave the TV up loud, you can have the TV up loud. Now, as a stepdad, how long do you reckon you'd put up with that crap for? Well, he put up with it a lot longer than what most people would, but eventually it broke him. And I can see from the conversation that this woman is having, this is what's going on in her house. She's prioritising her son. Have a listen to what she says in a moment. She's saying how wonderful and respectful and everything and how great her son is, and he may be, he may not be. She's saying he's great and he's respectful, but she's not teaching him to be respectful. She is not instilling in him the virtues of how a good step-family relationship should operate. She's not allowing her husband to be the stepfather that he could be. She's not allowing him to be the husband that he could be because she is not being the wife that she could be. Let me know if you disagree. And this could cause some heat and arguments in the comments. I don't care. I've lived and done this myself for 30 years. I have 2 of my own children. I have 2 stepchildren. It's very difficult to make this work. And to make it work, everybody has to be on the same page. And that doesn't for a moment mean that if you're the husband, you get to rule it over the house and you're the king of the castle and everything that you say goes. It doesn't mean that at all. It means that your wife loves you, respects you, treats you as the man of the house, never undermines your decision making in front of the children, your own children or your stepchildren, regardless. And more importantly, never prioritizes the kids over you. And I can imagine from the way this woman's talking, that's exactly what she's doing. I could imagine the husband saying, oh, we should do this. But if the kid kicks his heels and says, no, I don't want to do that, or I want to do something else, they're doing something else. In other words, this house is run by the 11-year-old kid, not the husband. And that's a recipe for disaster in a big way.
Everything in my life into raising him properly. You're going to tell me that you don't love him and that you want me to put you, a 33-year-old man, first over raising an 11-year-old boy. Absolutely not.
There's your problem.
On our 10-year anniversary, I told him, I said, yeah, I'm done. You need help. You need to go to therapy. And he said, okay, Taylor, let's go to therapy. Like, let's try to figure this out. And I said, great. Okay. January is your month. You have to hire the therapist, book the appointment. You know my schedule with work. Just tell me when to be there and I will be there. But this is your time to shine. If you want to repair this, then you can do all of the things for therapy. Do you think he did any of that?
I'll tell you right now, no, he didn't. Because he doesn't see that he has a problem. And to be honest, he doesn't have a problem. You have a problem. Because what you want out of this relationship, obviously, is your own way. You want to have your cake and eat it. You want to raise your own child as your own child. You want to basically still be the single mum, having full control and responsibility over your son, but you want a husband as well, when it suits you and when it's convenient. You want this kid to be your number 1 priority in your life, your husband your second priority, but you want your husband to unequivocally love your son unconditionally. In other words, you want your husband to provide for you, to be the husband, to be the strong provider around your house, whatever, but all decisions get made around your 11-year-old kid, who your husband has to love unconditionally. And because he doesn't, and because there's conflict and friction, you want your husband to go and get therapy? I think he's seeing right through that. He's not going to therapy. My guess is He used to love your son, but there's become a distance between them. He's distancing himself from you and your son.
Ladies, do you think you did any of that?
No.
No. Now, I realize that
Surprise.
everyone does parenting differently. And I'm not saying that my way is the right way or the wrong way. I don't know that there really is like a hard line of right and wrong way of parenting.
She's going to totally contradict herself in a moment. Wait for this.
But my son is not my soon-to-be ex-husband's child. Now, if he were his child, that would be a different story.
Oh, would it? Hang on a minute. So if... this gets interesting. So if he was your husband's son, things would be different. How so?
I would choose to put my husband first because it's a direct reflection of how a man and a wife should be, and it should be a good example.
Oh my goodness. Did you hear what she just said? If the son, her son, was her husband's son, she would put her husband first because that is how a relationship should be. It's a direct reflection of how a good working relationship and marriage should be. Huh. Okay. So she knows what should be done. She knows that if I want this marriage to work and he was my husband's natural son, I'd put my husband first and everything would run like clockwork. I know that. But he's not, so I don't. And because of that, it's not working. Okay. Let's park that.
But because that's not the case, I am responsible for raising an 11-year-old boy to make sure that he turns out to be a decent human being.
Technically, you made that decision when your son was 1, that you married your husband, that your husband would come into the equation as a stepfather, provider, man of the house. So, yes, you were a single mum. Yes, you were independently raising your child. You were 100% responsible for him. But you got married 10 years ago, so you're now a family unit, like you just said a few seconds ago. A family unit that should operate with you loving your husband and your husband loving you and your son, and you putting your husband first and teaching your son to respect the parameters of that marriage.
I'm responsible for giving him experiences. I'm responsible for taking care of him financially. I'm responsible for making sure that my child feels safe, secure, loved, and that he can come to me comfortably and talk to me about anything.
Well, in most families, a child should be comfortable to be able to go and talk to either their mother or their father equally. But I think you've taken that away from him.
Is my job. It is not my job to do that for a 33-year-old man. And contrary to popular belief, his happiness is not my responsibility.
It's not your responsibility. His happiness, yes, is his responsibility, just as yours is your responsibility. I totally get that.
And anyone else, please listen. Ladies, gentlemen, everyone. Your partner's happiness is their responsibility. The way that they feel about life and walk through life is a direct reflection of the work that they put in, what goes through their mind on a daily basis, and while you're there to support them as a partner, their happiness, general in life, is not your responsibility. My 11-year-old child is 100% my responsibility, and I'm going to take that to the grave. Like I believe that fully, entirely, wholeheartedly.
You're probably going to stay single then, my guess. Or you're going to find it very difficult to stay in a relationship. You've had 10 years of this one, and what's going to happen, you're possibly going to meet somebody else, who knows, but you're going to go round and round the same circle. The next person's going to come along. Oh, your kid's great. Oh, he's wonderful. Let's get married. I love him. He's such a great kid. 2, 3, 5 years into the relationship, the new husband's going to be like, man, this is really hard work. Trying to bring up this kid in this relationship with this woman. He just gets whatever the hell he wants. He gets his own way. He is our number one priority. She loves him more than she loves me. And that's not a jealousy thing. That's not feeling threatened. Of course you're going to love your son. You should love your husband as well. You're going to love them differently. There's going to be days where your husband drives you crazy. There's going to be days where your son drives you absolutely crazy. But you love them both differently. But what you're not doing is always prioritizing your son over your husband.
So I will never put a man above my 11-year-old child.
Okay.
And the next person I find, not that I'm really even thinking about that at all, will understand that.
They won't.
And will understand what I've been through, or I will not be with anyone else.
Okay.
Because ultimately, I feel like all I really need right now is my son. He needs me and I need him, and that's just kind of where I'm at.
I've seen other people do a reaction to this video, and to be honest, a lot of the people have said the same thing. That this woman should probably stay single, because she would prefer to be a single mother than a wife. Some are saying, yeah, look, if you want a relationship, fine, but wait till the kid's 18, 20, 25, whatever, and has moved out of home, and you're free, and you're single and ready to give yourself to someone. Because at the moment, you clearly want to be a single mum. You clearly want to just be you and your son and some husband if he wants to tag along for the ride. But a husband doesn't want to tag along for the ride in the life of you and your son. He doesn't want to come along for the ride. He wants to be number one. He wants to provide for you and your son. He wants to love you and your son. He wants to be respected by you and your son. He's not coming on the journey and just tagging along. Other people have said, you get it. You know how to operate this. You've said it yourself. If that boy was your husband's son, you would love your husband first. So the reality is, until your son's an adult and left home and has, moved on with his own life, if that ever happens, because I think the reality is you're probably going to have a difficult time letting go of your son when he finds somebody else in his life, wants to get married and move on with his life. Other commenters have said, yeah, just until then, stay single and maybe look and find a husband then, if and then you want one. What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments. I'll be interested to hear what you think about this one.